last year, that's of course Sea Pigeon. Still running towards the first flight. They're going no pace at all, the pace being set by Flying Diplomat with the white sleeves and white sash. And then come in the red and white quarter colours, Bird's Nest, followed by the one with the white epaulets and cap, that's Pinero. Then the hoop sleeves of Handicap, and finally the red, well-known tartan colours, red sleeves and cap of Sea Pigeon. Running up now towards the winning post for the first time. The field of 5 closely grouped together, headed still by Flying Diplomat. From Bird's Nest second, Pinero third, Handicap fourth, and Sea Pigeon fifth. A complete circuit to go now, and it's still Flying Diplomat by a couple of lengths from Bird's Nest in second, then Pinero and Handicap together, and still being held up at the rear of the field is Sea Pigeon. Running now left-handed and downhill with Alan Dickman aboard Flying Diplomat, continuing to dictate the pace at the moment ahead of Andy Turnell in second on Bird's Nest. Andy, who got to the course pretty early this morning. I saw him running round it, in fact, wearing a tracksuit. He remains second with Bird's Nest, then come Pinero, Handicap, and still last of the quintet is Sea Pigeon. Making their way to the next flight, and it's still Flying Diplomat, who's made all the running so far, coming to jump it ahead of Bird's Nest over in second. Bird's Nest making his seasonal reappearance. Then on the outside is Handicap, next comes Pinero, and still just tucked in last is Sea Pigeon. At this next flight of hurdles, Flying Diplomat jumps it 1, Bird's Nest 2, Pinero now 3, Handicap 4, and Sea Pigeon 5. About to make the turn into the far straight, and still no change in the order. They've remained virtually the same from the outset. That's to say it's still Flying Diplomat who's showing ahead of Bird's Nest second, Pinero third, and then flying on the outside Handicap and Sea Pigeon. Into the far straight now, and running towards the fourth flight of hurdles. Racing to this one now with still in front Flying Diplomat, Bird's Nest remaining second by a length and a half. In third is Pinero, but only just because Sea Pigeon's making a move now. And as they come now halfway into the next flight, it's now Bird's Nest who's ranged up alongside Flying Diplomat. In fact, it's Bird's Nest now who's gone on for the first time. So Bird's Nest in the lead as they pass halfway in this Bellway fighting fifth hurdle. Flying Diplomat in second place, Sea Pigeon full of running going up on the inside of Handicap, and just relegated to last of all the 100-to-1 outsider Pinero. Bird's Nest leads from Flying Diplomat second, Sea Pigeon third, Handicap fourth, Pinero fifth. All 5 in your picture and beginning to bunch up now as they come towards the next, which will be the last over on the far side of the course. And it's Bird's Nest by a length and a half from Flying Diplomat and Sea Pigeon. Sea Pigeon jumped that in second. Then in fourth comes Pinero, and still last to the 5 is Handicap as they near the final 5 furlongs now of the fighting fifth. And now it's the big 2 who are drawing away from the others. Bird's Nest seeking to win it for the 3rd time. Sea Pigeon for the second. It's Bird's Nest in the lead, Sea Pigeon in second. And this could in fact play into the hands of Sea Pigeon because Bird's Nest has the lead, Sea Pigeon going in his slipstream. A Bird's Nest it is from Sea Pigeon second, and these 2 have gone clear of the other 3. In line for the second last, jumping it now. Bird's Nest only by a length and a half from Sea Pigeon, who's been brought to tackle the leader over on the far side, and these 2 have now gone several lengths clear of Handicap in third, the early leader Flying Diplomat in fourth. Pinero is outclassed way back last as they enter the final quarter of a mile. And now it's Sea Pigeon who's come through to take over the lead from Bird's Nest. So as they race up towards the line, it's the big 2 clear. This is the final flight, and it's Sea Pigeon looking as though he's going to win it for the 2nd year running from Bird's Nest to 1 in 76 and 77. They're on the run for home, 150 yards to go in this really glue-pot ground at Newcastle, but Bird's Nest is fighting back, and Bird's Nest is getting up as they race to the line. Bird's Nest has gone out again. It's Bird's Nest who's going to win it for the 3rd time at the line. Bird's Nest wins the...
To start with, the Bird's Nest had been in front, and it looked as if the cards were all in Sea Pigeon's favour, but in fact he's really got there a fraction too early probably in this ground. It's very hard to judge, but he's come then, he's jumped the last well, got more momentum, and John Joe O'Neill has no option then but to go flat out for the line. But of course in doing that he's gone a length up, but he's also given Bird's Nest, who's a funny old character the best of times, a target. And in this terrible ground, Sea Pigeon understandably can't quicken again, but Bird's Nest with a target, he can quicken. But watch him, he's a funny old horse because he does it now. He quickens up past Sea Pigeon, who gallantly, though he struggles under the ground, can't do any more. Bird's Nest goes past, and then, really extraordinary thing, as he goes past, he suddenly switches his tail up and down in the most extraordinary ways, as to say, well, you wanted me to work this hard first time out, you should have told me in advance. Look at his tail there. 2, 3 times it goes, and he's almost pulling himself up as he goes to the line hardest. Look at the tail there as he goes up to the line. 3 times his tail goes, but Andy Turnell's managed to deliver him, and the final ace has been Andy Turnell.